Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you?
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does.
Since Donald Trump returned to the Oval Office, he has positioned himself as a global peacemaker. According to him, he has ended 8 wars and is close to making it 9. But his friend Putin isn't making it easy, testing Trump's patience at every turn. Summits, phone calls, sanctions, tariffs, nuclear tests. Trump tried every possible method to engage Putin. But Putin isn't someone Trump can easily boss around. A disappointed Trump understood that, and so did the world. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, seems to know exactly how to handle him. A leaked October 14th phone call between him and Putin's aide has sent shockwaves through Washington. Reportedly, he outlined a full plan for how the Russians should approach the POTUS on a Ukraine peace deal. According to a transcript of the call published by Bloomberg on November 25th, Witkoff advised Putin's aide, Foreign Policy Advisor Yuri Ushakov, to call Trump and congratulate him on the Gaza peace deal while affirming Russia's support for Middle East peace. Witkoff even added that he would tell Trump that his Russian counterpart sees him as a man of peace. From that, it's going to be a really good call, Witkoff said, according to the transcript. Seems like it's simple with Trump. Praise him and get him on your side.
Maybe he says to President Trump, you know, Steve and Yuri discussed a very similar 20-point plan to peace, and that could be something that we think might move the needle a little bit. We're open to those sorts of things, to explore what it's going to take to get a peace deal done. Now, me to you, I know what it's going to take to get a peace deal done. Donetsk and maybe a land swap somewhere. But I'm saying, instead of talking like that, let's talk more hopefully, because I think we're going to get to a deal here. And I think, Yuri, the president will give me a lot of space and discretion to get to the deal.
I see.
So if we can create that opportunity, that after this, I talked to Yuri and we had a conversation, I think that could lead to big stuff.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good.
And here's one more thing. Zelenskyy is coming to the White House on Friday.
I know that.
I will go to that meeting because they want me there. But I think, if possible, we have the call with your boss before that Friday meeting.
Before, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, I got your advice. So I discuss that with my boss, and then I come back to you, okay?
The Witkoff-Ushakov call occurred a day after Trump's visit to Israel and Egypt, celebrating the Gaza ceasefire. During the call, Witkoff proposed arranging a Trump-Putin conversation before Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy's upcoming White House visit, suggesting that Putin congratulate Trump on the Gaza deal as a way to start the discussion. As a result, Trump and Putin spoke the day before Trump met Zelenskyy, and after that October 17th meeting, Trump said Ukraine and Russia should stop where they are, effectively urging Ukraine to cede occupied territory. Russian officials must have taken Witkoff's advice seriously, and it worked also as Trump's 28-point peace proposal, revealed last week, seemed largely aligned with the Russian wish list. It called for Ukraine to surrender the entire Donbass region, sharply scale back its military, and accept a European guarantee that it would never be permitted to join the NATO alliance. When questioned by Russian state media about Bloomberg's report, Ushakov did not challenge the authenticity of the recordings, but maintained that Moscow was not behind the leak. The essence of these conversations is that they are confidential. I won't comment. No one should comment, he added. Special Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev called the transcript fake and wrote, "The closer we get to peace, the more desperate warmongers become." Bloomberg's report surfaced the same day Trump said a plan to end Russia's war in Ukraine has been fine-tuned and revealed that he is sending Witkoff to meet with Putin.
I've also ended 8 wars in 9 months, and we're working on that final war. It's not easy, but I don't know. I think we're going to get there. 25,000 soldiers, Ukraine, Russia. In the last month, 25,000 soldiers have died. So I think we're getting very close to a deal. We'll find out. I thought that one would have been gone quicker. We did 8. I thought that would have been an easier one, but I think we're making progress.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio has maintained that the plan was drafted by the United States with input from both Russia and Ukraine amid bipartisan criticism that it resembled a Russian wish list. Trump characterized Witkoff's reported outreach to the Russians as standard negotiating practice. He's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia, Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One on his flight to Florida Tuesday night. That's what a dealmaker does. He also hinted he might later meet with both Putin and Zelenskyy, but only after more progress in the talks.
Can you start off by telling us the latest with Russia and Ukraine? Are you expecting Zelenskyy to come visit you?
We're having good, I don't know, he would like to come, but I think we should get a deal done first. We're having good talks. We started with Russia, we're having some talks with Russia. Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to see it end. And we won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
You said, what are the big things?
We settled 8 wars, and I thought this would be one of the easier ones because of my relationship with President Putin. But this is probably one of the more difficult ones. There's a lot of hatred.
Because you said there were some disagreements. There were still left to be.
Yeah, a few.
Can you tell us what those are?
Well, it's just standard things with people starting to realize it's a good deal for both parties and they got to stop the war. They're losing a lot of people, a lot of soldiers, mostly soldiers.
In that 28-point plan, it was originally leaked. There were some portions of that that said that Ukraine.
Well, that was an original proposal, and then from there we went back and forth.
So when it comes to ceding land to Russia, is that still on the table or has that changed?
Well, they're talking about going land both ways and trying to clean up a border. You know, you can't go through the middle of a house, you can't go through the middle of a highway. So they're trying to work something. It's a complicated process. It doesn't go that quickly.
What about security guarantees and
Well, we're working that out with Europe. Europe will be largely involved in that. We're working that out with Europe. Europe really wants to see it end if possible.
There were a lot of Republicans who felt that the first plan, the first 28-point plan, was too favorable to Russia. Have you changed
Well, that was just a map. All that was is a map. That was not a plan. It was a concept. And from there, they've taken each one of the 28 points, and then you get down to 22 points. A lot of them were solved, and actually very favorably solved. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that Ukraine was being asked to give too much land back to Russia? I know at one point you said they shouldn't have to give any back.
It's really up. Look, the way it's going, if you look, it's just moving in one direction. So eventually, that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway. So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people? Or do you want to do something now? In some cases, the land is going in the other direction. So they're negotiating. They're trying to get it done. You want to have a border? You can't have a border that goes through a highway or a border that goes through the middle of a town. So that doesn't work. So it's a long, complicated process. Very sad because so many people are being killed.
What's the next step?
They're going to keep talking. They're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process. Smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Next week in Moscow?
I think so, yes.
What kinds of concessions are the Russians going to have to make?
Well, they're making concessions. Their big concession is they stop fighting and they don't take any more land. Again, it's a war that would have never happened if I was president. This was not anything that was going to happen. This happened because of stupidity. It's too bad.
Mr. President, Witkoff is going to Russia next week. Does that mean that Thanksgiving deadline doesn't stand anymore for Ukraine to agree to this?
We're going to see what happens. They set up a date the date is going to be sometime in the very near future.
Do you have no deadline?
No, I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over. And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
Have you heard this audio that Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you?
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
So you're worried that he's too pro-Russian?
Well, I think, look, this war could go on for years, and Russia's got a lot more people, got a lot more soldiers, So I think if Ukraine can make a deal, it's a good thing. I think it's great for both. Frankly, I think it's great for both. But Ukraine's got it's a much smaller group of people. They've lost a lot of people. Russia's lost a lot of people, but Russia has a much bigger pool of people.